A tropical sun bathes the clear waters of the Caribbean, nourishing gardens of stone that grow from the sea. Living coral towers from the ocean floor, creating an archipelago of tropical islands. But the reef is more than just a garden of stony coral. It's a community of 1,000 and more species whose very survival depends upon unlikely partnerships. Here, even predators ultimately depend upon cooperation between the many citizens of this city in the sea. It takes dozens of coral species to build a Caribbean coral reef. And though coral is sedentary, growing slowly like a desert cactus, it is not a plant. Coral is an animal and a predator. Stinging tentacles reach into the current to capture tiny planktonic creatures. But coral is not sustained only by feeding on plankton. Coral relies on a partnership with plants that live within its tissues. Microscopic algae manufactures food in exchange for sanctuary within the coral. Nourished by the algae, the coral grows slowly toward the sun, providing shelter for all manner of reef creatures. Over the centuries, layer upon layer of coral is laid down, forming spectacular reefs that rise from depths of over half a mile. This partnership between plant and animal is not unique to coral. This is Cassiopeia, the upside-down jellyfish. It too cultivates an internal garden of algae. To survive, it seeks out a warm place in the sun, then merely lies about as its garden grows. On the side of this rock, tiny shrimp offer an invitation. The invitation is accepted by a Nassau grouper. The shrimp wave their antennae enthusiastically, and the grouper changes color to signal his promise of safety. Pedersen shrimp are this city's dermatologists. They scour the fish, cleaning its skin of parasites and damaged tissue. The grouper benefits by having his body thoroughly cleansed. The shrimp benefits by feeding on whatever tidbits he may find on the grouper's skin or in his mouth. The Pedersen shrimp is even given access to the grouper's sensitive gills. Nearby, another cleaning station is occupied by a tiger grouper. In this case, skin irritations are treated by cleaner gobies. But the partnership of trust is the same. Certain of their safety, gobies pass fearlessly in and out of the predator's mouth and gills, polishing fang-like teeth in exchange for leftovers. Just a few feet away, Creole fish line up to be cleaned by a tiny blue and yellow hogfish. The hogfish services each customer in turn as new arrivals move to the head of the line. Even the fearsome barracuda offers safe passage to cleaners. His black color is his promise of safety. The small silver fish swimming with the barracuda enjoys a different relationship with the predator. The little fish is a barjack, and the barracuda is his protector. The barracuda would certainly eat the barjack, given a chance. But by staying just behind the terrible mouth, the barjack is safely out of reach, and no one else is likely to attack the little fish while he remains in the shelter of those awesome fangs. This stingray is also accompanied by a barjack. Like the barracuda, the stingray reaps no benefit by his association with the fish, but the barjack has good reason for staying close to the ray. The stingray digs in the sand for crustaceans and mollusks. As it digs, small shrimp and tiny fish are uncovered. Once exposed, these tiny prey are swiftly captured by the waiting barjack. The barjack considers the stingray his own private territory. His black color is a signal for other barjacks to stay away. A confrontation develops when another barjack attempts to trespass. Both barjacks now claim the stingray as theirs, and both have turned black to prove it. Now, only a fight will settle the matter. But no one is hurt in this battle. The confrontation becomes a ritualistic test of wills. Eventually, one fish simply tires of posturing and gives up. In this coral community, displays of color and pattern help individuals recognize members of their kind. Other creatures use color for camouflage. The peacock flounder is inconspicuous, adopting the patterns of the reef for concealment. But one animal uses color like no other: the Caribbean reef squid. They exploit color and pattern brilliantly for camouflage. But they also use color for communication. Their changing patterns convey messages to other squid. Some scientists believe that these cryptic signals are so complex that they may actually represent the squid's own language. The black bar behind the eye means that this female is looking for a lover. This male notices the signal quickly. But so does this one. The males compete for the female's affections through an elaborate dance of changing pattern and color. And somehow a choice is made. But actual mating is anticlimactic. In the blink of an eye, an exchange is made. The male simply gives the female a packet of sperm. She can either keep it or toss it away as she chooses. Protected by the barrier reef, vast fields of undersea grass flourish. Herds of timid beasts once grazed these prairies. A few still survive here. A manatee, one of the gentlest of all creatures. He does not travel alone. Remoras hitch a ride. Their stomachs are full to bursting after feeding on the manatee's waste. Manatees are a species in the twilight of existence. Already they are among the rarest of marine creatures, and each year they become rarer still. Today, only a few remain to roam these verdant fields. A barracuda also passes over the grass field and moves toward the reef. He is keenly aware of every fish swimming within sight. His need is fundamental. The predator is hungry. And this is his favorite meal, a ballyhoo. The ballyhoo senses the danger and accelerates away. In a flash, the race is on. In slow motion, the ballyhoo streaks toward the surface, but the barracuda is faster. Although many relationships in this reef city are benign, these citizens are also links in the food chain, and at the end of the chain is the shark. Caribbean reef sharks ply these waters in search of vulnerable prey. Healthy fish show little fear of the predator, but a fish that is past his prime is quickly identified. These fish are singled out, and sharks surge in pursuit. The black grouper is another opportunistic hunter. He is dangerous to any hapless fish that passes too close. A remora clings to the grouper's side, waiting for any leftovers that may come his way. But the black grouper swallows his prey whole and seldom leaves table scraps. Winter envelops the Caribbean. Storm clouds bring rain, wind, and heavy seas. Waves crash over the reef, dislodging any creature who fails to hold tight. The beginning of winter heralds a strange exodus from the shallow reef. In advance of winter storms, lobsters leave the shallows and march toward the protective calm of deeper water. They line up in single file. Each engages the lobster ahead with his barbed antennae and pushes forward. In this way, the line moves faster than a single individual might, moving alone. And there's safety in numbers. Lone lobsters are vulnerable here on the flats. The march ends here. The lobsters will pass the tempests of winter in the still waters of the deep reef, returning to the shallows in spring. But not all will survive this annual migration. Traveling alone, this lobster is overwhelmed by triggerfish. His spiny carapace is inadequate protection against their sharp beaks. A coral crab is also vulnerable out on the flats. He decides to leave the scant concealment of a sea fan and makes a dash for cover. He is immediately discovered by a triggerfish. But the crab is not defenseless. The triggerfish has a powerful beak, but a small mouth. He can easily crush a leg or claw, so the crab presents only the hard, flat top of his head. The triggerfish can't get a grip. Leaping at the larger predator is false bravado, but it works. The triggerfish has had enough. Over the centuries, countless ships have met misfortune in the waters above and come to rest here on the reef. As time passes, coral encrusts the wreckage, transforming shipwreck into living reef. Now, many creatures call this place home. One ancient resident has lived here for decades. A loggerhead turtle. He rises late in the morning, enjoys a deep breath of fresh air, and begins his day of hunting on the reef. The loggerhead loves shellfish. There's tender meat protected within the heavy shell of this horse conch. The turtle's powerful beak makes short work of the conch. Now the difficult part, separating meat from crushed shell. A pair of hands would be useful now, but the loggerhead will have to make do with flippers. They're great for swimming, but really awkward at mealtime. The first course complete, the turtle moves on in search of the next item on the menu. For the loggerhead, fresh crab is a culinary delight. But first, the turtle must catch the crab. The crab is not quick, but neither is the turtle. The loggerhead turtle has hunted these reefs for over half a century. His long life bears silent witness to the daily struggle of life over death. But the contest between predator and prey does not completely dominate existence in this world. Survival here also depends, as it always has, upon a confederation between species, an alliance of cooperation between citizens of this city in the sea.